Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are live once again to work on this. Why is it a black screen? I do not know. Apparently, it's only a black screen on the YouTube, so it's okay. It's not a black screen anymore. Emergency cancelled. We are, as the kids say, Gucci. Audio is working. This is amazing. The most smooth going live event of all time. I said as I looked over at OBS to make sure that it doesn't say like 95% dropped frames, but we seem to be good. We seem to be good. It's nice. Alright, well, I am really tired, so I don't know how long I'm gonna be able to go for tonight, but I'm also very hyped, so hopefully something is going to emerge from this conundrum. Pardon. Last time was quite a revolution. Sorry, I'm just checking if my tea is already good. Last time was quite a revolution because Hunter suggested that trees are not green, which has resulted in quite a big shift in the entire image, which is, I don't know, mostly done, but it's definitely been a positive influence over the whole thing. But now there's some consequences of the changes I made last time that kind of need to be addressed. So for example, the water no longer matches what is above the water, because I made quite a lot of changes, so the reflection isn't accurate anymore. So I want to touch that. This thing looks weird. It's like straight vertical and doesn't really have much support. These cliffs are very mono-colored. I mean, I know on one hand they are in the background, so it doesn't matter quite that much, but I would still like that there to be a little bit more variety to them, sorry. Then these trees can be a little darker, I think, and then the directional light should be a little bit stronger on one of the sides. That's how I think this should be happening, so you should be able to tell that this is in the background. The background is probably a little bit oversaturated, maybe, or lacks depth. I'm not sure exactly why that is, but I want to add something here in the background, so you can kind of get a little more, like because it still feels like, oh, this is one layer, this is one flat layer, and I'd like to change that. So maybe I might actually end up cutting a hole here with like this cliff kind of going down, and then another cliff behind it that's a little desaturated and lighter, maybe something like that. That's kind of what I'm thinking. And then the log, maybe one day the legendary log will return. Will it be tonight? Stay tuned to find out. All right, let's do it. Let's continue. I kind of overdid it on the highlights last time, I think, at least some of them. So, for example, this highlight here should probably go. We can pretend like it never existed by just filling it in with normal grass. I think that's better. Right. But the rest of them are decent, so I'll leave them as... Actually, these also look wacky. A little bit wacky. And you know, while I am not opposed to a little bit of wacky, these look slightly too much. Like, there's too much. I need to correct them. Okay, it shouldn't be highlighted from this side, but should have a little bit of a highlight. Like this, maybe. Yeah, because this helps define the shape, but I don't want it to dominate the look of it, and I don't want people to be wondering, why is this a random line just here? And then I say, which is basically what I would have to say in a case like that. Okay, let's start with maybe this tree, because it looks bad. This looks like a massive, like, blob of color. There's not, and I think it doesn't have to. I'll just have to follow it up with a little bit of additional context. So let's do that. Like, lighten it up, and then after I lighten it up, I pick a color that's a little closer to this bright highlight. Maybe not that. Somewhere in the middle is the point. maybe slightly in this direction, and then we add a little bit to it. So like there's a more intense highlight. You see it? It already looks better with this light. Because it looks like there's a little more like actual light shining on the surface. So we can expand this idea to like here. Maybe also do it in a way that preserves a little bit of texture. I overblew it a little bit. Because this is kind of facing down, so I want it to be a little more, you know, a little more defined like this. Yeah, and then a little bit of this dark is also going to go a long way towards defining the shape of this as an actual like 3D object. Like you see this? This is that's good. That's good. That's right. That's auto. As the car manufacturer would say. Why am I like this, man? I do not know. Truly a mystery as to how that happened. Okay, if I can give this treatment to the other trees, that is going to be a huge improvement. Yeah, that's the color that it was before, those like really green, but I think I'll pull in the previous export fairly quickly so we can, like, as soon as possible compare. So yeah, that's a big improvement in terms of making that tree actually look dimensional. A lot additional dimension achieved. I think maybe a little bit of an improvement also to this up here could help. What a homosexual looking tree. What did he mean by that? Probably that it's not straight. I understand the joke. Or maybe, just maybe, I accidentally made the tree gay. They are making the trees gay. They're putting something in the water that makes the trees gay. Unfortunate, truly. Okay. I think I can safely leave this one and continue adding like additional dimensions to the other trees. Because if I can nail that, that's gonna add a lot to the scene because they're currently very flat. Which is not what I want. I want these to be... Mum, new conspiracy theory just dropped. That's right. I am your number 2 source for conspiracy theories. Number 1 source is your other favorite conspiracy theories. I assume you have your favorites. Everybody's got some. You know, you just the people where you can just chill and listen to the most important information on the planet. Like updates on gay frogs. I mean, you gotta have something, right? I'm kind of hyped. Tonight because I'm very close to releasing an update on a project I've been basically rewriting from scratch. It's called Bridge Launcher, and it's like you can make your own launcher for Android, but with JavaScript, HTML, and CSS. Like completely, like the first version, I was basically learning Kotlin and Compose and all that jazz. So like how to work with all that, and what I've done after is like, okay, I finally understand how this works, so now let's actually write this properly. And I've basically I rewrote almost the entire thing, like completely redid the architecture of it, like how it's laid out, how components communicate, etc. And now it's basically ready for release. I'm gonna be releasing it tomorrow, so I'm fairly hyped about that. but I'm also fairly tired. So, is that an explosive mix? Is this a bad idea? Maybe. We will find out slowly but surely as I lose my ability to speak coherent English. As if I ever had any. Duh. But yeah. Things have been happening. Things have been happening. Exciting things, even, one could say. And of course I would say that as the most unbiased source of information on the issue. It's big hype for me. Can't wait to find out what bugs people find with it. But thankfully, part of the whole idea with rewriting the app and fixing up the architecture is so that I can fix all of those bugs and actually find out why they happened. So maybe it's not gonna be too bad. We'll find out. I can say I've had some experience fixing bugs up to this point with, all the programming and the customer support I've done. Customer support as in implementing things customers need. But we will find out in the most exciting way possible by trying it and hoping it doesn't break to pieces immediately. Okay, does this tree look any better is my kind of question. But if I'm willing to go this dark with the shadow, and I don't think I am, I think I'll undarken that a little bit by... You could say brighten, but or lighten, but you can also say undarken, which sounds more fun. So like an additional shade here. I want to find a way to break it. Absolutely. When it releases, you're more than welcome to try it because it's only gonna make the software better. Huh? Riddle me that, Batman. It's only a plus for me if somebody finds an issue. Because I ain't testing all of that myself. Well, which I mean, I've already tested it to some extent, but then, when somebody actually wants to do something with it, they are probably gonna find things they looked over. Like I overlooked, rather. And that's just a natural way things like this happen. You get someone who's actually using it, they find issues, I fix the issues, and then we continue the process until there's no more issues, which never happens, but, whatever. Right. Now the pop quiz of the day is, does this tree look better, or did I just make it darker? Because I did make it darker for sure, but that might actually be a good idea. Let's compare with the original. I mean, it certainly looks more 3D. But does it look better, though? I'm thinking maybe a little bit of this could go a long way. Yeah, I think that's better. Question mark? Yeah, I think that's better. Maybe a little of this type of highlight on this edge could also help with the look of that. Then less of this highlight also could help, because that highlight should be just from the side that gets direct light. I think this is vaguely correct. I have a little bit of this, so it's like, Okay, I think this is an improvement for that tree. Let's do this one on the other side. Depending on how it's mirrored, it would be on the left or the right. That's why I stopped myself. What? I already lost it. Which layer is this on? Oh, it's a right mid, because I separated them by side, of course. Good work. Totally forgot about that. Whoops. Although it's not like it's an unreasonable idea to separate them by which side of the image they are on, so figures. This, but slightly brighter. Not even sure if that's a very good idea. Actually, it might also need just darkening, not lightening, because this light color looks pretty decent. I would say. It's just this is over highlighted, so it looks bad. It's gotta decrease the amount of highlight that's on this thing significantly, and then replace this highlight with a less noticeable highlight, and then darken the middle of this to make it a little more 3D in appearance. But only slightly. Because, you know, I don't want to overdo it with the tree in the background. Now I've just noticed, look at how thick the bottom of this is versus the top. This is incorrect. Let's hide the potatoes layer and oh, I didn't realize how much of a mess this is behind the scenes, but that's alright. We will fix it. Maybe. Yeah, let's crop it from the sides so it's a little more vertical. This is very vertical, but I think that's good. We maybe have even a little more. Doesn't love random holes when you hide a layer. Who doesn't? I certainly love them. My favorite part is when I hide a layer and there's holes. There's nothing that gets me more excited about drawing things. Ah, boom. Like that. Sure. And then we have the other tree on the right, and then that is also fine, but we can adjust this. Then like lighten this a bunch. Have some light on this side as well, because I cropped it so now it's not visible anymore. And then have a bright accent on that side. And I think now that I enable the front back up, that's not the correct layer. I do not know why I clicked on that. Complete brain fart moment. Yeah, I'm thinking. Now, is it too dark? I don't think so, because these can stay darker, and then if I introduce some kind of God rays effect to this, they are going to be slightly brightened and desaturated anyway, so I think this is fine. This is fine for now, as is, so let's maybe leave that as 3D. Oh, there's one more tree here in the background. I completely forgot about that. We are gonna also apply the same treatment to this. I think. Like, this is the highlighted bit, and then this is the darkened bit. Too dark, maybe, but... yeah, that's more like it in terms of like actual 3D-ness looking things. Gooding indeed. We're back on the grind. The Drama Mail grind set. We're gonna be drawing forever, apparently. It's never gonna stop. That's a lie. The lie detector has determined that that was a lie. Why would someone use an Android launcher? Well, when you are very autistic, you might think, I would like to have a way to have what's on my home screen look different. And then you're like, yes, installing a launcher. And that's basically how it happens. And then after that, you might think, but I would like this to be more custom than just choosing one that somebody has already built. And then you start thinking about Android development, and then you realize Android development is hell. And then, hopefully, is where my project comes in, because you don't have to do it in regular Android development. You could actually use my thing and just do it through web technologies. So HTML, JavaScript, and CSS. Can't stay in chat because I was about to head to the Cairo, but I saw your stream and wanted to boost your numbers. Thank you. I as major cloud chaser #1, I appreciate leaving the stream on, dropping likes and chat. Sure, thanks. Appreciate looking out for the numbers, which, as we all know, is the most important part of any kind of thing you are doing. You want to have the numbers. This is the Sigma male grind set, by which I mean Drama male grind set, which we are all on, hopefully. You better be on your Drama male mindset if you're tuning into this stream. Right. So yeah, Android launches are basically you can customize what your home screen is, and there's different standard ones you can choose from, which usually have a grid. Like you have a grid on your home screen that you can drag apps onto, and then you have an app drawer which contains all the apps that are not on your home screen effectively. So that's like the default option, and there's a bunch of that. There's some more customizable ones, but if you would truly want to do something that is entirely different, then most likely you would have to build something yourself, and that experience is just absolutely horrendous as someone who has written like 2 of those or 3. Android development is suffering, unfortunately, until you know what you're doing to a decent degree. Kotlin helps a lot. It's a better language than Java. So yeah, it's a really good project. I hope so. I'm hoping, because there's only one more like major feature missing before I go. So here's the link to the project, to like that's to the launcher itself. But if you go up from it to the project, you get like a. Okay, hold on. Should have linked this actually. This is what I should have linked. Oh, you found it already. Well, good job. Congratulations, you have done it. Yeah, so it's fairly complicated to set up on my end because it needs to do a bunch of stuff. And there's there's 4 like free, basically like 4 components of the system that I kind of keep up. So I have the launcher app, which is an Android app, and then I have a sample project for it. I have like a TypeScript separate thing for the types for the API, so you can actually have auto completion and like type checking. So if you don't have to actually run it to test if it works. And then a mock project, which is which pretends to be the API, so you can actually develop on your computer in your browser without having to somehow like stream it to your phone or something to actually use the API. You can develop on the computer, as they say, as to make the experience as painless as possible. And basically the only major feature I'm missing that I want to implement before fully calling it like, okay, this is like done, the 1.0 version is done, is icon pack support. So I'd like Bridge to expose like a list of icon packs, so that and allow you to load icons from icon packs, and then basically you have, I think, everything you need to replicate like a launcher that you already have on your phone in Bridge. And then from there, you know, you can just do whatever you want and probably request additional features, because I can't really predict what people actually are gonna need. So I'm just hoping it takes off a little bit and some people start using it, and then I have a little bit of an idea what features to give people, basically. If you were a true coder, you would build your own compiler. This is true. I am in fact cattle, because I do not have a compiler. I've not written a compiler, because I think compilers specifically are so it has to compile to machine code, but I have written a parser and evaluator for a language before. And I've also written one to make a calculator for a uni project, which was like, you if you wanted to get like grade, let's say B, if you wanted a B, you had to do a normal calculator in like C++. And then if you wanted a grade higher, you had to implement two modes for the calculator, one of them being like the same regular calculator and the second being the scientific calculator. And then, and switching between them. And the requirement to do that was just absolutely ridiculous. Like, there's no way that was worth it to do, but I figured I'd do it anyway. And so, because the scientific calculator has order of operations, the way I've actually implemented that is the calculator was basically just building a string of math, like operators with parentheses and operators and numbers. And then I just wrote a parser and evaluator that just evaluated math expressions. And then, which was like piling overkill on top of overkill, but I had fun, so it was worth it. Pretty sure the only person that genuinely built one of their own is Terry. It takes a couple hundred people split into teams to make a compiler? Really? I mean, I guess if he wrote like a C compiler, right? Because he wrote all the way because he wrote it all the way from like scratch, and he wrote a C compiler, which is admittedly more for an OS. I mean, he wrote his own entire like operating system that actually worked, and all the way to graphics, etc. So that's incredibly impressive in its own right. I don't have much interest, frankly, in compilers for now. I do fairly high level things, so I don't really have much of a need to go that in depth. He wrote in Holy C. I know he wrote like that's the like his iteration of it. That's what I know. I don't know what actually is different about it. I haven't looked into it. It is kind of incredible that, you can be, on one hand, you can be like genuinely, I don't know, like schizophrenic or whatever he had, but also be able to grapple with concepts that are so complicated and actually figure it out all the way into a working solution. Hybrid of C and C++, so C+. That's the way it should have been from the very get-go. Why? Yeah, if C++ is so good, why isn't there a C++? Oh, wait, +++, yes, I said it correctly. And also, return to tradition, kinda, but not really. C+. Solution to modernity in programming is to go back to C+. I just roll it back, but only slightly. Only to the period, roll it back, but of course only roll it back to the time period I specifically like, and no other. It's like being a schizo helps with complicated problem solving. For legal reasons, I have never solved a complex problem, and I'm not a schizo, so this doesn't apply to me in the slightest. Until the problem is solved, yeah. I see what you mean there. Empress is another example. That's from the cracking like scene. Is that even one person? Because that's been like a whole meltdown, which I haven't really observed, but I'm just vaguely aware of that. There's like a going under the name Empress and then publishing different statements. It's like, oh, this is not just like a cracked game, but you also have like 10 million other something moral things. You're a bad person, blah blah blah, whatever. I'm not familiar. I'm very vaguely and generally aware that that was a thing, and there was some kind of drama about it, and that's about the extent of my knowledge. It's, I mean, it's interesting. I suppose if you are the only person or only group that is able to do certain things in the world, that might get to you and lead to something like that. Wait, okay, hold on. I'm trying to figure out what to do with this. Need to focus for a little bit. I need to lock in, as the kids say. Do the kids say that? I think that's fairly up-to-date lingo. I mean, it's interesting. It certainly takes some kind of person to go into reverse engineering assembly code. So you gotta have something in there, you know, about... well, I haven't done that in particular, but I'm not exactly whitelisting myself from this consideration. I am very open to the probably very obvious possibility that there is something, you know, under the hood of my head, under my scalp, you know, that's sideways, maybe. Maybe. Not impossible. Okay, where's this? Okay. Let's get these cliffs, actually on layer, and let's actually see what they look like, what I want this to look like. So when I only see a little bit, I can't really conceptualize what I'm doing. So this looks like a mess. I'm thinking, because I like this shape being this cliff face that you see from kind of below. I like that, but the water spilling on top of it looks kind of weird. I'll be honest. So this water looks like it should be falling, you know, down the slope on the back of this. This is a slope. We are seeing from under the slope, and then the water shouldn't really be pouring through the side here. So I'm thinking maybe I either remove this or just move it to the side. I'm thinking maybe because this water could be falling and then maybe going around this on both sides. So a little something here falling on this side, and a little something here falling on this side. Going through something like that is what I'm saying, what I'm trying to what I'm envisioning. So you know, I like this cliff shape, and now it looks really good, I think. I think I could eat into it a little bit on this side and then have a little, you know, have a little bit of green on the side. This is cool looking. I will also want to introduce a little more variety to this entire clip thing. Probably some rocks, most likely gonna be added, or some way to do something. Not quite sure what exactly. This falling water is probably all the falling water, yeah, so I gotta select it before we move it. But if it was here, I think, something like this, we have it fall here, and then we have it maybe swim and connect with that over there as well. That's kind of what I'm thinking, and this shouldn't be... I like the effect of this little splashing, but I think it doesn't fit. It doesn't quite fit together. So like maybe a little bit of that, and then we have, ooh, look at this, look at this. That's the idea. Like we have this also be like a ledge. Yeah. This is starting to look like something. And then we can have this kind of try and straighten it out into a more of a like pronounced slope. If you catch my drift. And then we probably have like a, yeah, darker shade around this side of it. Sorry for like flipping between this so fast, but when I'm thinking about it and I want to check things out, I just kind of have to flip through it to like see if I haven't missed anything. Yeah, so like this is the water falling in there, and then it like should be poking out of like this place here, and I think that's gonna look pretty great. Like this, right? Like it's like swimming through some crack there, and then this should be 2 layers. We're gonna separate this in a little bit. I'm gonna separate it out. And then maybe it like flows down. I kind of like this being a bush, but it doesn't fit with the cliffs. So either I think I have to move it like more in this direction, I think. And then this becomes consumed by the cliff. Kinda. Yeah, you see the idea. Making the cliff more 3D is the point. Yeah, and then you can have some grass climbing on top of this. This is like too harsh. Maybe like an additional. It's something. It might be too small in scale, to be honest, now that I look at it again. If you look at this, it's very small compared to the foreground. I'm not sure if I maybe have an issue where if you take a look at what these look like, these are much larger, so they suggest what the comparative size of a character is on this. So having these be so small and detailed in the background is kinda weird. I might need to adjust it, but for now, I'm kinda on a roll with it. So I wanna, even if I discard this, I've gathered a bunch of experience from drawing it. So like whatever I do after this with it, it probably is gonna look decent. That's what I'm expecting, so I am not too worried about potentially throwing it out. Might happen, might not happen. We will see what is necessary to make this look better. I like this grass. I think this grass is fairly good. I don't like this very much. This should be like darker behind the tree, I think. Maybe a little bit of like different colors sticking out near this edge. Because it doesn't have to be like super detailed as in precisely points and splashes, etc. Precisely where like it would be. It needs to be look a certain way to like fool the eye into thinking that there is detail that looks vaguely correct. And then, you know, your brain is going to do the work for me in a way. That's the plan. I might be over detailing this, but I might also not be, so who knows. No, this is like a true improvising type beat. on this. I've got no clue if this is gonna look correct or not. But I think it's an improvement so far with these cliffs. Maybe have the water turn around. Hello, please. I do not know how to pronounce that, but I gave it an honest attempt. This is not my, well, I don't think I am allowed to say this is not my brightest moment in pronunciation. Pronunciation, right? Yeah, pronunciation. I'm learning. I'll slowly, but you know, slowly but surely we will get there to being able to like use English. Probably be a massive milestone if I was able to use English. I think that's a big type beat. That makes no sense. I don't know what the brain was doing, but we gotta dial it back. This doesn't make any sense. Okay, so I like this water kind of flowing through the middle here. Oh, there could be a little pool. Like you see this? Like a little puddle. No, that's probably a better term for it. A little puddle of water. This is too saturated, but maybe be slightly adjusted. It's gonna be fine. And then there's like a little bit of moss in here as well. English good, yes. Hero preach, sure. This is presumably how you pronounce all English words at all times. This is how you do it. This is correct. Okay, look at that. Doesn't look too bad. Yeah, it doesn't really connect to anything in here, but it certainly looks cool. So now I just like smother it with a little additional detail. And then also have some grass around it. I don't know, because there's a tree that's gonna be royally in the way in a second. Okay. I'd like this to be a little bit like this, and then this leaves some space for me to introduce like a second layer of these. That's kind of sticking out. Like here, I'd like to stick out another layer, but that is probably gonna be behind the tree I've hidden. Kind of. Because I can't forget that there's this thing on the tree, which I'm wondering if I should maybe get rid of at this stage, but I don't know. Let's see for a while what it looks like without that. Like if it wasn't here, then it opens up. Like this space feels weirdly empty if this isn't here. So I'm not entirely convinced I should make this move. Although there could be something else there that isn't, you know, quite this gaudy. Or could be like a walkway or platform that would be much less intrusive in terms of space taken. That is kind of what I'm thinking about that. Maybe I could break it down a lot more so it has holes in it and you can see more of the background. Maybe something like that. This water stream is very wide and thick, and I'd like it to not be quite as much. So let's unthicken it, shall we? Which I'm not sure if I'm achieving with this, but we'll try it, and worst case scenario, we'll try it again. Is the golden motto for something like this. Figure it out as you go along, type beat. I don't know why type beat is living rent-free in my head. I can't stop saying something type beat in entirely inappropriate scenarios. It's taken over my head. Quiet place type beat. Yeah, we are clearly missing like 7 parts of that. I think they should release like 20 more movies in that franchise. I bet it's gonna be great. Ooh, we could be seeing something from the back of this, so it like would be mostly dark. Yeah, something like this. Something type beat. I You should review the game. I'd have to play it first. Do you really want to do that to me? That's a rhetorical question. You don't have to answer, actually. Something type beat. I think it originates from. I think it originates from like music making people who are making like someone type beat, or like, and then it evolved into something type beat where you just have a random word type beat. So like I don't know, what would it be, like a machine gun type beat, and then you have something that just sounds like a machine gun but it's also a bit, not a bit, a beat. And then I guess from there it evolved into people using it outside of that context entirely. So you have you call something that looks like some other thing that thing type beat. That's the stage at which I come in, and that has for some reason attached itself to my brain, and now it doesn't want to let go. Type beat. You understand me? Yeah, look at this. Look at this. Look at this. Look at this. This is good. Trees Aren't Green has done quite a number on my perception of this entire image. I'm really liking this. This looks like these cliffs are finally looking like something that is worth looking at on their own and not just like a background. Which I think makes for a much better, much more interesting image. If you know this part of it, like, sure, it's less detailed because I'm purposefully using like larger blobs and less colors, but it's still, due to the shape of it and how it's put together, it still looks interesting to look at. I hope. I guess you be the judge, but I think it's interesting to look at, of course. Like, parentheses, feedback appreciated at all times in any quantity. Anytime you want to say something about this and call me an idiot at the same time, you should do it. It's fine. Yeah, something like this. Because you gotta remember that water reflections are not random. Like, it isn't that the water looks like that just because it's water, so it has like these funny lines, but it actually should consider a little bit of what is above it to make to look more believable. So that's what I'm kind of trying to do with these reflections. It's like, yeah, there's dark cliff there, so make it darker on there, but there's light there, so like, you get the point, you get the point. Okay, and then through here we can have a little bit of water falling into the pond. And then we can decorate it maybe a little bit with some like foam looking, not that harsh, because it's not like a gigantic amount of foam, but a little bit, you know, of like splash. Just a touch, just a little touch of the splash. My feedback is that I'm busy driving. Fair enough. Do not incur unnecessary risk just to provide feedback on some drawing. That probably wouldn't be a smart idea. We could... Yeah, I'm thinking that looks good. good enough. This side of the cliff needs work, and I think the biggest part of work it actually needs is I need to select it and I need to make it darker and a little more saturated, because that way it's going to look like it's slightly more in front than the other part of the cliff, which I think I'm gonna just separate this into a separate layer, of course. This is like a front type cliff. That's right. We're gonna be putting references to the streams in the layer names continuously, and I'll never remember what they were a reference to. But maybe I'll get a chuckle out of that later. So like you see, we kind of saturate it and darken it, so it's in between the two layers it's supposed to actually be in between of. And this looks a lot better already. Maybe slightly brighter, because I don't wanna overdo it, but I wanna do it. If you if you understand the overall point I'm making. I don't wanna overdo it, but I wanna do it. Damn right I wanna do it. That's good. And then a little bit of fixing up of this. Yeah. Yeah. And then we have a little bit of grass maybe growing on this side. Like that. And then we presumably could also yoink some of this moss. This is too saturated still, but the point being that there would be like a little bit of moss growing on the tree due to like this being connected with the grass, etc. Like this doesn't look very integrated yet, but we can use the magic of digital processing to slightly adjust the color so it fits better. Like maybe that just is enough. Yeah, that's like similar. And then we could use a little variation in this color to like introduce moss to the tree, so that it integrates better with the cliff side. But maybe not to the point. You know what? This probably should be a separate layer, the moss. Either on the layer with the tree or on a separate layer entirely. For now I'm going to choose the separate layer approach to it, maybe? Should be happening. Can you imagine? Wait. Uh-oh. Red alert, there's a blob of the wrong type of color on this one. Delete. Thank you. Whoopsie. Nobody saw anything. It's fine. It's fine. It was never there was never a problem, in fact. Nothing has happened. Nobody saw anything. No information. Can't believe you just blobbed. I didn't. Shut up. Has not happened. There's no proof. How would you ever obtain proof? There's no way for you to obtain proof. I win. Of course. I'm thinking like something like this to like have like, yeah, I want to say like 1,000 more like times. That'd be great. Please, waiter, 10,000 more likes in the sentence. I need it. This doesn't look great. I think I'll just delete it for now, because it doesn't improve anything. So for now we leave it. When we get into the part where we integrate more moss into the scene, we do that, I think. Okay, so now behind left mid, there should be another layer, and maybe I'll do it straight above the backdrop. Backdrop has a bunch of unnamed layers, which should be, we should fix that. What is this? This layer contains absolutely nothing relevant to the image. It's great. This is a backdrop tree. Oh, that was the only unnamed layer. That's probably why it's unnamed. It's probably why it's unnamed. I just made it to do something and then forgot. Now we brighten that up. Maybe saturate a little bit. And then now we can introduce like another cliff into here where it's like you see the idea. Maybe you probably don't, maybe you do, who knows. The point is we have like this very simple and blobby, but we just hint at there being more in the background, and just the hint should be enough to actually get away with this being the correct presentation, like looking all right. Yeah, this adds a whole lot in terms of depth to the image. I'm only worried that now that like, look, we can have a little bit of this sticking out as well. Closer there than like closing in the water down. Yeah, now this has a lot more depth just because it has two layers to it, and you can see the two different layers interact with one another. That is an improvement. However, I am afraid that if I enable this again, it hides all of that improvement behind a stupid thing that doesn't look good. So I think this might just permanently stay disabled, and I introduce something else. Or maybe I don't even, because this is, I like this being kind of the background kind of cliffs being visible here. So maybe I'll just completely get rid of that and just will never mention it again. And if nobody has to see that ever existed if we... Because it's like a big blob that draws attention. Imagine staying disabled. That could not be me. Because I'm thinking that's kind of a big blob that draws attention to itself. When the tree already kind of does that, but less so. So it doesn't like steal all the attention that goes in this part of the image. So more of it can go towards looking at the cliffs, etc. and appreciating the depth. So I think I'm officially over that house and we will never return to it again. Said the man who had no idea if we will return or not. However, I don't, at this stage, I don't think it's a wise idea to return to it. But, you know, we might find out that it was something. We might find that it was something important later about it, and then we'll bring it back. But for now, goodbye, house. You were truly an idea. Yeah, so just fix up the tree so it doesn't look like there was something missing anymore. You know, something like this. In order for the tree to look vaguely normal. These blobs look kind of bad now that everything else is fleshed out a lot more, but I think that doesn't matter too much. Maybe. Honestly, maybe it doesn't. Falling water. I'd appreciate if there was a little bit of it somewhere around here. Like maybe something spilling out from there would be a decent improvement. Yeah, I'm thinking I'm doing that, but on the correct layer, shall we? That's right. We are actually getting into like proper layer management. Would you believe it? I wouldn't. This layer, yeah, you should go, because I'd like to kind of do a similar type treatment to this side as I did to the other side. Today is truly not a philosophical commentary kind of day. Today is a we do work kind of day on the image, I think. Having layers is for noobs. Guilty as charged, unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, or maybe it doesn't matter. But I am indeed a fan of having layers, even though I sometimes like doing things on just one layer, but ooh, look at that. That's a big improvement, like, immediately. Sometimes I like having layers. Like, I like having everything on one layer, but a lot of the time just there's a lot of benefit to having things separate and doable. So, guilty as charged. Mr. Noob here. What's up, guys? Mr. Noob here. We're gonna be using... Just reminds me of Desync. What a great channel. I don't remember when he last posted, but... Shout outs to Desync. That's right, I said it. He said after saying the least controversial statement of this year. Who that? It's a guy who made, like, you might recognize it, like using b-hops and tricks to your advantage in Counter-Strike community servers, CSGO community servers, Jailbreak, and then, like, funny tricks in Half-Life 2, and general, like, Source Engine, and then maybe some Far Cry videos he made also. He's Australian as well, if you wanna... If you want an easily identifiable detail, might be more identifiable than whatever. It's funny. That's the major reason to shout him out. Just funny. Good stuff. Recommended. That's right. Deselect. Okay, these cliffs are an improvement. Kangaroo man bee hopping makes sense. Yeah, you see, you're catching on quickly to the schemes of the Australians. This is very, very good. I'm cleaning up this mess because, frankly, it is a mess. There's no two ways about it. Now, is this a good way to clean that? I'm not sure, because this is a little on the nose. This is actually darker than the rest of it, so not the best color pick of all time. Okay, this is the darker color from it. Yeah, I'm thinking we use the darker color, like, sparingly to add a little bit of detail to this. Maybe? Not sure. This is a hefty cliff on this side, but I kind of like it this way. Oh, this is somehow in front of this tree, which very clearly shouldn't be. It should be like this. Most certainly, with the way I currently am drawing on these layers. And then this is like a whole... This is like a whole another layer behind the layer I'm currently working on, so... I'll probably separate these two ahead of time. Yeah. Something like that, and then this grass... Yeah, this grass is also on a separate layer, and this is completely, like, messed up due to what I've been doing with the foreground. It's like probably just do something like this. Maybe cut into it a little bit. Something like that. You have like darker patches on it. And slightly less dark also patches. Like, this is rough, but it doesn't really matter all that much because this is obscured by other things, so should be good to go with, even with something as messy as this is. Not sure, because this doesn't integrate with this tree really all that well. But maybe like this is enough, maybe? Oh, we could have a little bit of this and then integrate the tree via basically this looking like there's some dirt gathered around it, like accumulated around the base, and then from this side it's some grass to the side, and then that is kind of important to get correct because it places the tree in the scene with the other objects, which adds a lot to the look. This is probably not even gonna be all that visible, but I'd rather have it laid out and then I understand it better than not. So figures. Right, cliffs. What is this? This is okay, this is cliffs in the backdrop. Then I'd like the right mid, and then the right mid contains these cliffs. Like, this is a little too much. I'm thinking like if there was grass coming down from around, that would help with the look of this. And then this is too vertical, which we can solve fairly easily by doing just that. Maybe. Not sure. I'm figuring it out as we go along, as per usual, so... You know what? Not bad. Not bad, I'd say. And then we can grab some of this, like, darker shading for this part. And then the grass is slightly too... On the grass, I think I'm gonna... am I gonna merge these two layers together? I think so. I think that's what I'm gonna do. It was gonna be way easier to edit if the grass is on the same layer as the cliffs. Yeah, you see that it now integrates way nicer with this. And then we can grab some of these colors and go to the backdrop cliffs and then add a little bit of a backdrop cliff. Like maybe, yeah, maybe like this here. And then have this one go down more smoothly towards the water. Just maybe a touch of grass on like this side. Maybe. Blobs. I mean, yes. Is it really that bad of a thing, do you think? Is it too blobby? Have we reached peak blobness? Is it too much? Do we need to go back to the good old days before the blobbening? This cliff is too structured. I'm making a mess. Now this doesn't look right at all. I think it has too many tiers. Like, it needs to be simplified a great deal. This maybe needs to be just dirt type. Someone should make a movie about blobs taking over the world. Surely there's at least one movie like that. What? I can't think of one, but surely there is. Now, if I was more, you know, movie savvy, I could make a joke about some movie which features a lot of fat people doing something. That would be hilarious, but unfortunately my film knowledge is lacking. So somebody would have to fill in the joke for me, unfortunately. I just do not know what to reference. You know. Okay. Okay, this helps a lot with the depth on this. This helps a lot. And I think the other thing that would help a lot, and I should go to sleep soon because I'm losing momentum hard in terms of getting tired, but we'll push forward a little bit because I want to get the water to be closer to what it should be. What is this? Oh, this is like moss on it. Okay, let's add. Just add water is the instruction set on some things. I wanna a little bit of this, and then get rid of all of this like brown from the middle is the main point of changing this. I think this is a big improvement. I'm just a chill blob. That's a reference to like one of the more recent memes, right? Like I'm just a chill guy, and that's like the dog PNG, which I genuinely do not know what that meme is. I think it's literally just there's a funny dog PNG and people like it. I think that's the entire meme. Like there's nothing more to it. Pretty much, I think. Correct me if I am wrong, of course, as I am highly likely to be wrong on this. I am not at all up to date on any meme type stuff. See it again. It creeps in, takes you hostage. I don't know either. Fair enough. I guess I'm gonna read the Know Your Meme page at some point. Might happen. Because, you know, I need to know my meme, and what page better to go to know your meme than knowyourmeme.com, which, as the name suggests, is about knowing your meme. Blob PNG. This is very starkly blue. Sacre bleu. I have meine baguette. Ignore that. Made no sense. Yeah, like that. And then we... This water looks a lot better already than it used to. But then we need to clean up this mess still. This is a mess because we need a little bit of like darker desaturated brown. Am I losing my mind? Maybe. This is entirely possible. I don't know anymore. Yeah, you see the tree reflecting a little bit. That looks good. And then over here we would like a little bit more in the brown kinda, but like light and desaturated and more towards the red. So like that's the kind of cliffs reflecting in the thing. Or maybe a little darker also. Maybe like all the way darker in there. But then we also want the kind of like green to be visible through there. A smidge. I really like this like green accent on the... These green accents on the water look really cool. I don't wanna overblow them though. That seems like something you could easily like overdo and then lose the appeal. But a little bit of like brighter highlights. Alright, I think a touch of just brighter highlights, and then thinking properly about where to place different colors, and this could look quite decent. despite me maybe potentially losing my mind in the process. There's a calculated risk. Sometimes you just have to take it. This is too intense. And I also should replicate this kind of color with the other tree. This is looking good, I would say. This is looking good. You want to replicate like this kind of color with maybe this? And you can kind of see the reflection of the top of the cliff side. And then a darker... this kind of tone on it. Maybe? Sure, we will roll with that, as there's nothing else left to roll with. I'd say this is a little biased in one direction, which I don't necessarily approve of. This probably needs a little bit more of the brighter colors. And then this is too big of a blob of one. It can't be like that. Maybe have a little smudges of brown. Like suggest the tree kind of reflects all the way there too. And like clean this up. Introduce another color. Then swap it for a darker blue-ish around this place. Yeah, also reduce this a tad. Have like brighter highlights. A little bit of maybe a little bit of like blue visible in places. Especially where there's like darker reflections. Around the edge of darker reflections, there's like a little bit of blue poking through. It's kind of stylized as well, but like around these darker reflections, I'd kind of like the blue to also exist slightly. I'm not sure if this is correct, but I think it looks a lot better than it used to, so I'll take it. This is kind of like whole part here looks kind of like bad. That's alright. We can adjust. It doesn't matter too much. Maybe something like this. And then we have a little bit of like additionally very bright highlight on top. Okay, I think this is a big improvement over what was here before. Let's compare. Yeah, I mean it's much more intentional now. So I cleaned it up a lot because it's a lot more intentional aside from this like right side, which is a whole mess of its own. Which I could maybe clean up a little bit. By clean up, I mean introduce a couple blobs of like this darker brown and hope that is enough to look good. That was the plan. Kinda works. It kinda works. Okay, let's try a little bit of this as well, like this teal. To spice up the highlights a little bit, we're gonna introduce a little of this teal. Maybe like a little dash of it there as well. And then this reflection is a whole mess, but I'm not gonna touch it for now. I don't think I'm gonna touch it. I think I'm gonna leave it as is. Something like this. I think it's an improvement, and that is good enough for me, I think. And then finally, before I go for tonight, I am going to do one more thing at least, which is grab the supports of this and give them a little bit of additional darker color on the bottom, so they integrate with the water better, because the water tends to make things darker. Like when they are wet, they tend to be like darker and more saturated. So just throw it over there and like darken these a little bit. Also with that's too dark. Need to make it a little brighter but still darker than. Like it needs to be significantly darker enough to register as a different kind of material. Yeah, that is decent. Maybe not the best, but we take what we can easily get for free. Oh, that's on a different layer. Okay, then we get the darker. C is for cookie, and that's good enough for me. There's a Cookie Monster type beat. I hope it's a reference to Cookie Monster, because then I'd actually know a reference to something, but would be kind of broken down by the fact that I guessed it, so, you know. Sounds like Sesame Street would have that something like that. That's what that sounds like. This, and then the water also needs a little bit of that reflecting in it to sell the illusion a little bit more. In the know for once. Yes! Yes! I'm winning. Are you winning, son? Yes, I've guessed that a quote was from Cookie Monster correctly. This is like breaking news. Put this on national television. A man knows a reference for once. Revolutionary, even, you could say. Am I overdoing it? Maybe. Probably am. This is too dark for the water, even. This color we need to brighten. Desaturate. Yeah, that was definitely needed. And then I also want to darken this line a little bit. Still, because that doesn't integrate well, if anything. The leaves on the trees still need work, but we'll get on it at some point, maybe. Mayhaps, as some people say. There's a water line, and it's not horizontal, which annoys me. Look at this. This is like tilted. Should untilt that. Jinx died in Arcane? I don't know. That's the League of Legends show that people say that is actually good. But I have not watched, so I can't comment. Unlucky, I guess. R.I.P. Unfortunate. Or should I say El Bozo? Because, you know, there's two different reactions you can have. Me too. Why are you just spoiling it for people randomly? It's like, you know. Hey, you like that series? Yeah, that character dies. Lol. Lamau. Idiot. That's what you get for being on the internet in a random chat. Will never recover from this. Okay. Something like that. Yeah, look at how much better this looks just from this addition. It's actually kind of stupid how much better this looks immediately. It sells the idea that this is inside of water a lot better just by the color being slightly darker. Okay, okay, alright. I think that is about as good as we are gonna get for tonight. Can I get like a cheap... I can't... This is crooked. I'm gonna rotate this before I go. He said doing the 50 and 1,000 thing before he goes. This is left mid. Okay, emergency break. I need to rapidly and quickly find my way over to the nearest bed and position myself horizontally on it before anything else happens. Whoops. Lasso selected again. Drawing needs more microtransactions. Sure, yes, we need... I drew a loot box at one point as a joke somewhere on this drawing, but I think the layer's gone. Like, the whole thing is gone. That does remind me that I listened to like an hour-long interview with Gabe Newell from like 11 years ago. It was fascinating, but I don't have the brain capacity at the moment to talk about it, so I'll leave it for maybe next time. Ranting about like reviewing Gabe Newell's interview at some like university or whatever, or rather like talk, because it's like I guess there's people asking questions, but it's not really an interview. It's very interesting. I'm reminded of it because microtransactions. He talks a bunch about microtransactions in the context of like the games and Steam, etc. It's very interesting. Okay, my head is informing me that we need like emergency shutdown now. Is there any layer I should like re-enable before I export this again? This is not gonna happen because that just introduces more mess into there. Although, I kind of like this tree there, to be honest. I kind of like this. I might reintroduce it just as something, as like an additional bit of thing. But I also like this. Maybe just stack these layers or like on top of one another. I kind of like this. I think I'm gonna leave this like crooked tree. Just maybe darken it a little bit. No, I darkened it too much. Placebo darkening, where I pretend I darkened it and it feels better. I think that's about what I'm doing with this. Okay, then this water also I'd like to slightly adjust before I go, which I shouldn't be doing. I shouldn't be going to bed. My brain's telling me to go to bed. But something doesn't look quite right, so I'll adjust. Huh. Oh yeah, because the water's drawn on top of the... on top of its own edge, and that's probably why it looks bad. And we can probably sell this with the darkened color once again, just like I did with that. If I have this color and like darken it like a lot more and then go along the line, that probably would look better. And then this also looks kind of bad. Speaking of looking kind of bad, I need to go to bed. Get it? Because that's a similar color. No, that's not a color, that's a word. That truly approaching emergency shutdown territory over here. Go to bed. I will. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen soon. Right after I get this expert. Like you see the kind of idea with this. Yeah, color. I need to go to bed. Yeah, it happens. It happens. It happens like that sometimes. Why am I doing this? Bed is a similar color. I did say that. This is true. Maybe. I think I said that. My defense, I have no defense. I just should have gone to bed, but still haven't. And now I'm adding like tiny random details. Okay. Am I missing something? I'm missing the thing on the top of the tree, which I don't like anymore. I'll probably replace it with like a much thinner platform. Because I think still something needs to be here, but I'd say this is a big improvement, a pretty big move towards what this should look like. I'd say. Hi. Oh, you've showed up at the worst possible moment because I'm going off to go to bed. Should add a loot box to this drawing, absolutely. Well, this is what I started today with, and this is the state at the end, which I think is a big improvement in terms of look between the two. Yeah, there's a little bit of added depth, and there's, you know, these like cliffs have gotten an upgrade. This place has gotten a slight upgrade, which makes it look a hell of a lot better because you can actually see it because it stands out as its own layer. I've gotten rid of this. I don't know if this is temporary. Let's maybe re-enable this for a short bit. I like removed this thing because it blocks the vision on the back. Whoops, wrong layer to move. Maybe I could like somehow manipulate it. Maybe it could, honestly, maybe it could be all the way down here or something. I kind of like not having to deal with it anymore, to be honest. Maybe it should be on the ground, but then it's too big. So I'll probably replace this with like a platform on this. For now, I'm gonna just hide it. Yeah, and the bunch of like cleanup, and I redid the entire water effectively. Yeah, most of the water I've redone so it actually fits with what is now in the background of the image, and honestly, this all goes together much better, and then there's a lot more depth to it, so I'm fairly happy with it, with the changes tonight. Time, I think, well invested. And I am going to bed because I'm about to fall asleep live on stream, which would be bad because then there's nobody that's going to be able to stop the stream. So thank you very much for watching today. Today was like yeah, something like that. Anyway, that's a good enough summary for me. So good night, bye.